morning, top performers, and this is a big day for us. We're now, I assume everybody can see my screen, and we're all good that you are graduating today. And for those of you that have been through all 5 sessions, that I know and I've heard from you that it has, changed your life, changed your perspective on how you think, given you greater clarity about life, who you are, and how to get more of what you want. And so it's all just amazing. We have actually created millions and millions of dollars of incremental business. We've created some, deeper, more meaningful relationships, some amazing, challenging relationships that we were able to turn around. And so I'm just so proud of all of you, and I just love you guys. And you're kind of stuck now with Dr. Hank for all of eternity. So, and so know that I'm here for you and to help you in any way that I can. That just let me know how I can do that. Oh, there we go. Okay. Hey, Dan, how are you? We got your picture there. You're looking good, Dan. You're looking good this morning, man. And so this week, this session being our last session of Top Performers, this is going to really bring everything together and put it all together so that you can just prance right out of this session and really just feel confident, grounded, knowing that you are this deliberate creator now, that you can create the things that you want. And this session that we're going to be reviewing now is really the last kind of missing link on to help us to how does life play, and how do we make life play better for us on more of the things and be able to manifest more of the things we want to be, do, and have, and it's with our all-powerful emotions. And so we'll get into that, but the first thing I wanted to do was do a recap of where we've been in the last 5 sessions together, the last 3 months together. That it's been just an amazing time, and I just absolutely love, I look at your picture once in a while, the pictures we did in session 3 out on the porch, what a beautiful view and everything, and it was just grand to be with you guys and to be able to experience this whole process together. So if you'll recall in the first session that we talked about living in the green zone and thinking in the green zone. And so just as a recap that, there's 4 different areas that we as these human beings, we're really vibrational beings, we're filled with this energy, and that we think in these 4 different zones. And 3 of the zones basically decrease our success and increase our stress. And by increasing our stress, it literally kills us. And so we get heart disease and cancer and dis-ease, if you will, when we're thinking in those 3 zones. And, that one zone is where we're thinking about what we want, but we're doing it in a reactive mode. When all of a sudden something starts going wrong, then we say, oh gosh, I want it to go right. And if you remember my analogy on that, it's kind of like you jumping out of an airplane and then saying to yourself, you're flying down and saying to yourself, oh, I forgot one thing, and that darn parachute. And so just hang on and it'll be over shortly and fairly quickly. And so that's what happens. We're in a listing lead, whatever, we're in a listing presentation, and all of a sudden we say to ourselves, oh, this isn't going right the way that I want it. And so we get life by default because we're just responsive, and then it's too late. We already have momentum going in a direction that we don't want, and it's pretty tough to stop that momentum. So what we do is we become deliberate and we pre-pave. And the Joy Shop is one of the best areas in order to do that. And then episode intending. And so the Joy Shop in the morning, where you start, you read the Joy Shop, and remember that. And you can email me if you want a new, and some of you have already, if you want a new Joy Shop, just let me know and I can send you a new Joy Shop of new thoughts that to help you stay really engaged, because you're doing this to get your emotions going, and if you catch yourself just reading it without any emotions, that you're just wasting your time. And so after you read that joy shot, when you get those high feelings, those good feelings, then you write down what you want, and this will help you with your clarity, and you're going to get clearer and clearer on really what are the things that you want and what is important to you. And then you're going to write down what you appreciate. And so within the last 24 hours, and remember, during, like after you hear, like I just won like we just heard, I just, won 15 meals at a restaurant, and you go, yes! And so to get that energy going, so right now I want you to just stand up and say and scream, yell out, and go, yes! Okay, go ahead, stand up and go, yes! And that's just you kicking up life and making it more about what you want and getting that energy going. And then the final thing that we do is we pre-pave our day. And so this keeps us out of these red zones of either being reactive to life, and then we get life by default, or when we're just doing busy work, okay? And procrastination is a good one too, in that lower left-hand red zone where I'm not thinking about what I want, and I'm not doing it deliberately, and so we do procrastination. And so I share with all of you, just make a decision. Whatever decision you make, that God has a path of least resistance for you to be able to get to what you want at in that journey, at the end of that journey. And the most important thing is that after you make that decision, is to enjoy the journey. So I want you to enjoy yourselves, enjoy everything. If it's too tough, it's God telling you, hey, this isn't for you, that there's a better, easier path. So you want to pick up, and we'll talk a lot today about picking up this guidance system. Is each one of us, we're born with this magnificent and perfect guidance system to guide us to everything that we want. And so then, if you recall, in week 2, we had a great week 2 on looking at our assessments. And I just talked to one of you yesterday, and she was saying to me that, oh my God, I read my assessment and I started to cry and say, this isn't like me. And so she actually went to dinner with their ex 2 nights ago and brought her assessment along. And then she said, could you please read some of these parts here? Communicating with people, you want to be thinking, what behavior style are they, and how do I more effectively modify my behavior so that they can open up that shade of communication. And then we also talked about what motivates us, and that we each have a different set of motivations, but there are only 6 motivations of mankind, and you've never been exposed to that information before. And I would really suggest you review all of this. Like most people, well, everybody that has gone through like this, the top performers a second time, has gotten way more out of it. And the reason why is they've been more accepting on, because what I share with you, my only agenda is to share with you this truth of life and how it plays, and for you to be able to embrace it and understand it and then go have fun with it. And so there's those different motivators, and we're typically always talking to people, our clients, other people, whatever, based on what motivates us and based on our values. And so, we want to be aware that not everybody is utilitarian on who wants a return on investment, or individualistic, who wants to be the best, or theoretical, who wants, to have knowledge, and aesthetic to have that form and harmony that they're just there's different ways that people look at it, and so that's why it's so critical for all of us to be able to really effectively listen to people, take in what they're saying, and that way, by you listening to what they're saying, they're really sharing to you what they value, and then you want to respond in a way that matches their values, and that way they understand that you get them. And it's all about opening up the shade of communication. The next one we had was, next session was on our beliefs, and we found that we had many beliefs about ourselves and about this world that just aren't true, that they were true to other people, and we were brought up with beliefs that no longer serve us. Some beliefs no longer serve us. And the beauty is that it doesn't matter, there isn't really a subconscious mind per se, that whatever you have in there on that deep buried, beliefs, that you can trump all of them by just thinking about what you want. So right now I want you to think to yourself, what do you want? Do you want more business? You want more agents? You want, a happier relationship? That you want to be independently wealthy? You want to have better health? You want to live a long and happy and joyous and prosperous and healthy life? That, yeah, that's what you want. And so just think about that, and as these thoughts come in, that they're godly thoughts, because I've now helped to raise your vibration, so you're in a higher place. And so that higher place is where you can start attracting ideas, thoughts, literally from God, from all that is, from the universe. And so that's how beautiful this is, and part of our guidance is that's energy. Thoughts are energy, and when you all of a sudden get a thought, okay, that thought, actually, that inspired thought actually comes from God. And so it's not you with your concrete mind thinking about it. It's you with your higher self and your soul, and really connecting to all that you are. And each one of you are just magnificent beings that have the power to create and manifest everything that you want through your thought and then through your powerful emotions. So we looked at beliefs, and we realized that we can change and we can overcome any of our old beliefs that don't no longer serve us. And then Success Unit 4, that we talked about prioritizing our life. And we went into specifically monthly planning and what a valuable tool that is. It's the most important 2 hours that you can do during a month, because it really helps you to pre-pave and lay out how you want it. And you'll get more and more clarity. But usually it takes 2 or 3 months of monthly planning. So right now I'd write down, or put in your calendar or whatever, at the end of June, you want to plan July so that you can make it the best that you have. And you'll see by about the second or third month, you're going to feel so grounded, so relaxed, so at ease, and recognizing that, hey, you're going to have the best month ever now, because you called it the way that you want it. Amen? Yeah, amen to that. And so now we're going to go into this week, but before we do, I wanted to again thank our sponsors and Columbus Capital Lending, and we appreciate them, and the loan officers and everybody that has participated with that. Also PSS Title, and we had one top performer already use PSS Title where nobody else would give title on a transaction. And so not only were they able to give title, but they saw that there was attached to that property a $50,000 mistake, and it shouldn't be attached to the property and that debt. And because of that, it saved the seller $50,000. So they were not only able to get the transaction, but save a lot of money. And so PSS Title is just incredible. And then Advanced Rewards Funding, and they can give you money up front, and relatively the cheapest in the industry as far as it's called factoring. But basically you could get $3,000 wired to you today. All you need is a buy-sell agreement. And EXP is one of the preferred vendors on that. And with them. And so we thank our sponsors for, paying for all of this, and like, your assessment. I mean, that goes for $300, just that assessment alone. And so we appreciate our sponsors indeed, and Melissa too. She's been very helpful in coordinating all this and getting us, like, initially, the first 3 sessions our little ranch place, our Steiner place that we went to. And so let's look at our agenda. And as usual, we haven't been on our agenda, and I just love it that way, because we just kind of do what we want to. And what we do is we allow those thoughts. Like, I didn't know exactly what. I knew I would do a review, but those words and everything, those were all, came from my higher self. And it was spoken for you to really be able to embrace those words, to internalize it. And this morning I asked for each one of you to have open minds, open hearts, and open soul to this information, because it is just so powerful, and it's going to take you on your merry way to all kinds of abundant and wonderful things in your life. So we're going to do a recap of our amazing journey together, which I just actually did. And we're going to look at how our desires, everything that we want, that we're desire machines, that once you get your first million or second million or whatever it is, you'll want more. And we are just machines for wanting to have more, and everything is manifested emotionally. And it's impossible to manifest, to create in your life anything without having emotions behind it. And that's why the emotions of, remember, committee members, we talked about the committee members, and remember those committee members, those are, those little voices up in your head, and they're a bunch of fear and worry and doubt, and, gee, I wonder whatever, I wonder if I'm going to get this deal, I wonder if, they're going to leave me, I wonder, and all of that doubt, that all that does is make you feel bad, and you get very emotional about it, and then you have fear, and fear is the second most powerful emotion that there is. So when you attach fear to anything, that you're going to start creating it really quickly. So I want you to make sure you stop thinking about the things that you don't want, and only think about the things you do want. Because for you to think that, oh, I'm going to think about this so that I'm guarded, and when it happens, it won't be such a blow to me and all this stuff. Well, none of that would happen. You wouldn't have any blows if you would just go and start thinking more about what you want. And the most powerful emotion that there is, that trumps everybody, all of them, all fear and worry and doubt and complaining and shame and guilt. Guilt is a great one as far as what we don't want, okay? And shame, there's nothing to be shameful. We are worthy. We were born worthy, and for you to stand tall and recognize that you are. And so that power that trumps them all is love. And for you to just love yourself, love this life, love other people, love your business, love your clients, just shed love on everything. And everything will come back to you in love and abundance and in an amazing, wonderful way. And so it's this discipline about, and I love using Christ's analogy, when you get slapped, turn the other cheek. And what that meant, and I think I shared with you that as a boy, I thought that, because I was a fairly abusive physically father and real abusive emotional father, and so when I heard slap, I thought it meant like when my dad slaps me, I just turn the other cheek and let him slap my other cheek. But really what it means is that when you brush up against contrast, the things you don't like, that you first of all point at that and say, that's what I don't want. And then you ask yourself, you're really asking God, what do I want? And that bursts, and that gives growth and more to all that is by you starting to discover new things of what you do want and more energy behind what you do want, and you'll manifest it quicker in your life. And so that's turning the other cheek. And that's looking, instead of me looking at what's bothering me, at what's troubling me, at what lack and limitation I perceive in my life, I look at that and just say, that's what I don't want, and I turn the other cheek. And do that right now. Just turn your cheek. Go from like the right on what I don't want, and then turn your other cheek and look to the left. And what do I want? And look up then, and look up and say, hey, what do I want? What will be? That's what I'm going to start thinking about more now, is what will be. And as you think about what will be, because the universe, God doesn't care if you're thinking about the past, the present, or the future. Whatever you're thinking about, you're going to get more of it. So why not think about your abundant and happy and healthy and joyous what will be, your future. And as you do, that future will start to run right into your experience, and you will manifest more and more. And for the most part, most of you have already experienced this not only once, but several times within this process, because this truly is, all you have to do, you don't even have to believe this process. All you have to do is start doing it, and you'll start seeing that just amazing out-of-the-blue experiences happen. And let's just talk for a minute about out-of-the-blue experiences. So how do out-of-the-blue experience happen? That is when I'm thinking about what I want, and God delivers this beautiful path of least resistance. It's like downstream, easy, that we're tired of rowing up the stream and trying to get more money and business, trying to be happier, and trying to feel better, and trying to have better health, and just forget all that. None of your desires are upstream. They're all downstream. So just let go. And, the great saying about let go, let God, what that means is I'm going to stop pushing all this stuff. And instead, I'm going to be the commander. I'm going to be the director in which I am. I have been told I'm supposed to ask, and then I receive. And my asking is my every moment thought. And so I'm going to now start asking and start thinking about what will be and the things that I want. And as I do that, more and more of everything that I want, because cooperative components come. They rally around your thought. So when you're thinking about a loving relationship and how you want a deeper, more meaningful relationship with your significant other, let's say, that not only will you get a deeper, more meaningful, loving relationship with them, but all of a sudden there will be other people in your life. Could be brand new, could be people that you've had in the past, and that they're there and they are helping you in order to become your greatest possibility. And these cooperative components, it's just like when you say, I want listings, and then I have one of us, in fact, Paula, that she just came over to EXP last month, and so welcome aboard, Paula, and she came over with 13 listings. And why? Because I've been coaching with her, and we had together that getting her to think about what she wants, and that she just magically, and this is what it is. It's all magic, if you will. It's all God stuff. It's all the universe doing this amazing work on our behalf. The Father does the work. And so she said, hey, I want some listings this year. And so by May, she has 13 listings that she brings over with her to EXP. And so, and it all started on the first listing. And then when you get that first listing, you go, yes, right? Yes. I love that. And as you get that energy going, and as you stand in the state of appreciation of God delivering to you what you want, that one listing, that as you keep that energy going and you're just focused on that subject and just loving what you want, more listings, and why you want it, because it's easy and it's more money, it makes you feel, to increase your self-esteem and make you feel great, and it's an opportunity to give you money, which is freedom, that gives you more choices and variety, and helps not only yourself but your family and the whole world, because remember, as you thrive, the whole world thrives. And then you recognize that, oh my gosh, these cooperative components come rallying around my thought, and they give me more of it. In fact, if we all just would be in a state of appreciation, that we would be getting everything that we want, because God already knows on what you've asked for. It's just our resistance that has prevented us from having that, saying that, oh, well, they're that way, or this is how it is, or the economy is, or the doctor said this, or whatever. And remember, the other lesson that we learned here is that, or truth that we learned here is that no longer are we going to honor the God, with little g, the God of other people's opinion. I don't care what a doctor's opinion is. And if I want health, and I'm walking right now and just fired up about all of this and all of you, and that, I'm supposed to be permanently paralyzed, disabled. That's what the VA proclaimed me, permanently homebound and disabled. And that was 10 months ago. And I didn't believe it. I decided that I'd make my own health, and it'd be better than it was before. And so that's what I was able to do. And that, I also asked in that time period that I said, hey, I know this happened, this miraculous car experience happened to me for a really good reason. So here's the good reason. I'm going to make the good reason up, and I'm going to have better health, and I'm going to have a miraculous opportunity. And that miraculous opportunity, one of those miraculous opportunities was the introduction of EXP. I would have never slowed down for EXP. And that, it's irresponsible for any agent, and again, I repeat, it is irresponsible for any agent to be with any broker other than EXP. Why? Because they came here to serve more people and make money, income, and there's no place where you can serve more people with all the leads that you not only have conversion and sync, but now you have, the leads program that I introduced to you this week with a remarkable 18% close rate and exclusive leads just to you. You make $9,000. I mean, how much more? But, we have all this abundance and the ability to help really change people's lives by introducing them to this amazing EXP opportunity. So anyways, as usual, we're off the agenda, and I love that. And but know that all of our desires are manifested emotionally. Know also that you're a vibrational being, and we'll talk about that your energy. So when you look at your hand right now, look at your right hand right now. And, you think it's this hard, solid piece of flesh, and the fact is that there's more air, more space in that hand that there is matter, M-A-T-T-E-R, in that hand, and and there are all these atoms that are moving a zillion miles per hour, and so you literally have trillions of cells within your body, and they're being guided, by the way, by your source, by God, by your inner being. They're being guided to perfect health. It's just us with our troubled thoughts and with our worry and fear and all that nonsense that takes us. And so that's the devil. The only devil that there is within each one of us, thinking about it, because we're brought up to, worry about this and complain about that. And, I just was talking to an agent a couple of days ago who said, I don't have to worry. And I said, really? Cool. Why is that? She goes, oh, my mother does all the worrying for me. And so I don't know if you're in that situation, but I can tell you that even when people transition, there's really no death, and that's a whole other topic. But everybody, if you think they're gone, then they are gone, whatever you believe. But if you think they're there and they're there to guide you, and they're, almost like these angelic beings, if you will, that they'll be there. And so I'm telling you that right now, your grandparents that have transitioned back into non-physical, they're there and they're loving you and guiding you, want to give you everything that you want. But we think they're gone, and so thus they are gone because of what we are. But we're these energies, these vibrational beings, just amazing people. And so, and just to finish that one up is that, so on this lady that said, oh, my mother, does enough worry for me, that even when her mother transitioned, she'll end up having that worry too, because she was brought up with that. And so unless you awaken, and this whole process helps you to awaken. So we'll then talk about energy or vibrations that bring you what you don't want, and then energy or vibrations that bring you what you do want. And then finally, next steps to take you beyond your imagination. So with that, let's talk for that, first of all, you are a vibrational being. Everything is energy in this entire universe. Everything is energy and light energy. And so know that you are part of that energy as well, and that we are energy, and we have the ability. So other animals can't do. My dog Bella, that she can't create and direct energy with her thoughts. Okay, the only beings that are on this earth that have the power to create and direct energy is us. And so all of the energy in the universe, that we can call forth that energy. So when you're thinking about more abundance in your life, more prosperity in your life, more money falling in your lap, that when you think that every energy in the universe that is a cooperative component, harmonious with that, is being called forth to you. And that energy will literally start putting people, circumstances, situations, thoughts into your experience in order to give you what you want. And that's why it's so important to make sure you understand on what you're thinking about, and that you want to think about what you want. And then there's a fourth universal law. So if you'll recall last session that we talked about 3 universal laws. And one is that you are a leading edge creator. Because you've been in top performers, you're now a leading edge deliberate creator. You're deliberately, most people are thinking about what they want more than they're thinking about what they don't want. And that's where you find this unhappiness, this sadness, et cetera, in the world. And remember, you can attract anything, because this world has perfect contrast, everything you want, everything you don't want. So I'm going to go to Ireland, for example, in a couple of weeks, and so some people say, "Oh my God, it's dangerous over there, whatever." And I've been to Dubai, I've been to Egypt this year. That there's nothing that gets in my way unless I attract it. And so it doesn't matter where you are, where I am, anywhere in this world, that we can either have this beautiful, peaceful world, loving world with harmonious people or not, depending on what we are attracting. So stuff doesn't just happen to you. The reason why you think stuff has happened to you before and you don't have control is because you've asked, you've prayed, you've been on your hands and knees, and you prayed to God, please give me whatever that is, more money, more business, or whatever. And then you prance around the day talking about how you don't have enough and there aren't enough clients, and Facebook and about not enough business, or whatever it is, whether it's business. Most of you guys are very successful and even more successful in business now, but we all want more money. We all want more business, and so we've had some opportunities to have that. And so that was the first law, is to understand that's what you're here for. So you're not here to pay off a debt or work yourself, try to earn yourself into heaven, none of that stuff. That you're a deliberate creator, you were here to create. The second law that we talked about is that only well-being flows to us. So there's only good that flows to us. However, we can shut off, not all the way, but we can shut off that well-being. So for example, all of us can have perfect health by just allowing perfect health. And then you'll be directed to the proper food and vitamins and everything else that you want. I had a Reiki guy, he deals with energy, and he said, oh, if you take this one, it was a lemon, let's see, actually, I think I have it here, that, where is that? Anyways, it's frankincense, that's what it is. And so he said, if you take frankincense every day, you won't get cancer. And I was drinking some water, and I spit the water out laughing so hard, because anybody to say that, oh, if you take, frankincense or this, you won't get cancer. No, the only way that I get cancer is if I have dis-ease in my own mind. And I have no dis-ease in my own mind because I'm just happy and I know how life plays, and so do you now. And so that was the second one, only well-being, only good flows to us. So what does that imply? There's no devil, okay? There's no devil. There's nothing working against you. There's no karma working against you, nothing that you did when you were younger or whatever that's working against you. There's nothing that works against you. And you may say, oh, no, but I got this ex that is working against me all the time. If you allow them into your life, then that, and into your thoughts, if you allow them into your thoughts and to ruin your day, but you're the controller on whether or not you let anyone or any circumstance ruin your day. And I stand tall and I say, you know what? There's not one thing, not one thing, not one circumstance, not one person, not one word, nothing that can ever, not a particle in the universe, that can ever get me down, because I'm not going to allow it. And so I'm going to just attract what gets me up, okay, and what gets my blood flowing, and what I love, what makes my heart sing. That's the things that I think about. So we're a deliberate creator. We only well-being flows, and then cooperative components rally around. And so when you say, oh, gosh, the day can't get any worse than this, and then it does, then what is that from? Well, that's because you've been thinking about that you've been thinking about, gee, this, that it can't get worse makes it worse. You're thinking about worse, and then sure enough, cooperative components come. So that's why we think we're sometimes not deliberate creators and that we just get life by default, and you bet, you'll get life by default if you're not deliberate in your thinking. Now, we're all going to have contrast and things that we don't like come into our life. But understand, it actually is God giving you that contrast so that you can get back on to your lighted path. And that's just like a phenomenal aha. So when you understand and you bless everything that has happened to you and everything that is happening to you and everything that will happen, you bless it all to include what you don't like, because it's actually God's gift to you to help you awaken and recognize what you do like and want to be, do, and have in your life. So those are the three laws, but now this is the fourth one. And the fourth one is God communicates with us through our feelings. And so when you feel bad, you don't have to figure out anything other than I'm thinking a way unlike what God is thinking about this subject. And again, I don't know why the X comes up and divorcees, but apparently some of you have some divorcees and some exes that you're still mad at or whatever. And I'm telling you, those people, whatever you're mad at or upset about, that the people involved, they're out having a good time or whatever. And the only person that isn't is you, because you're thinking about it and focusing on it. And so some people say, Dr. Hank, you're like an ostrich. You're just sticking your head in the sand. And, oh, no, I'm not. I stick my head up in the heavens, in the clouds, and I keep my feet grounded. Yes, and so think about you that, yeah, that's where I'm going to be. My head's going to be in the clouds. My head's going to be in heaven, just thinking about the things that I want, because I know that's how life plays. And then, conversely, when I feel good, that means I'm thinking like this about God. So when that happens, you're getting momentum. And this word momentum is powerful, because I want you to think right now, in our graduation week, that you each have momentum going in your favor. You are building better businesses, you feel better, you're happier, that, all these wonderful things. I had a guy who kind of follows me around. He's in just about every training I have or different thing. He was in the Leads program training on Monday. And he came up to me and he said, I've never had such a good week as I had last week. And my immediate just reaction to him without thinking, I said, yeah, that's what happens, because when people are around me, they just get better and better and more amazing and more wonderful things, happen with me. And he goes, for sure, I got a coach with you. And that's available to all of you. I have a coaching application if you're interested in doing that. But and why that is because it becomes contagious. Okay, I'm a disease, except I'm this love disease, and you can be this way. And remember, as you thrive, so the world thrives. And so this idea about milking it and milking that momentum. So you have this momentum going, and I want you to realize that, recognize that, appreciate that, and remember, grateful isn't quite as high a word, and we'll get, in fact, more into that later on. But to be able to appreciate that, and to be able to get to this amazing new place that we want. Now it's 10:43, and so why don't we take a 2-minute break? And so take a bathroom break, whatever. Apparently you guys need to go to the bathroom. That's the vibes I'm getting. And so we'll see you back in 2 minutes. Okay, so take a 2-minute break. All right, I'm back, and hey, this is a good time to ask, does anybody have any questions or comments that I have? I have you able to talk, and so there should be a volume thing there, or a little microphone or whatever, and but I'd love to hear from any of you on anything, either what we covered today or about graduation or anything else. Oh, come on. Somebody has something to say. Come on. Who has something to say? We'd like to hear from you. We'd love to hear from you. Who has something to say? We got a whole bunch of us on here, and I see all of you on there. Who has something to say? What happened good out of the blue? Either bring up out of the blue or referral partners, maybe a referral partner that you had or some referral that you all of a sudden got, who can share something just wonderful that happened to you in the last week or so. Come on, you guys. I know some of you sometimes have a hard time finding where the microphone is or something like that. But any comments? All right. Okay, so we're going to go. So we're off a break, and we'll get right back into it. And we're basically going to look at, so how are our desires, how are they manifested emotionally? And so to recognize, oh, John had a great week out of the blue, another listing from a past client, fantastic. Thank you for sharing. That's just awesome. That, yeah, I've heard from a lot of you, and you have shared, a lot of amazing things that have happened on more business and referral partners and just some wonderful things that have made your hearts sing. So so since we understand that you're a leading edge creator, that your thoughts, so this is really the 5-step process on how creation is, and it's a co-creation, it's with God. So your thoughts create this emotion. So that's why your emotions are so important to recognize, to embrace. And one of the things that, in fact, I want you to write down right now, that one of the things is that that I care most about how I feel. And so write that down. I care most about how I feel. For when you feel good, that you are living your soul's life. It's powerful, powerful information and understanding. And that when you feel good, you're living your soul's life. Before you came here again, that you said to God, your soul, if you will, that you said, so how will we communicate? And God says, in the perfect way. And that through your bad feelings, that it means you're not thinking like I am. Through your good feelings, that you're thinking as I do. So I'm not going to use English. I'm not going to use Spanish. No language, but just these perfect emotions, our feelings, and that is. So our thoughts create this emotion that then sends out a signal to our source, to God. And so as we start feeling good, we're living the life of our soul. And before you came here, you and your soul had really some agreements on, here's what I want in this round in life. And I can tell you this, that it was, you guys all wanted to expand and grow more. And so all of us have done that, right? And then we wanted to have more freedom. And so you have more freedom. You're real estate agents that you're, wanting to, you're with, for the most part, most of you are with EXP, and you're, becoming these amazing beings and creating all of this wealth and passive income. And again, just one step at a time. Just go real easy. That there's no hurry, because your life is eternal, and you're never going to get it done. And by what I mean by that is your current desires you'll have, but once you get those, you'll have more desires. And so you'll just continue to have and birth these more desires. And then the third thing that you and your soul said, so you wanted more growth, you wanted more freedom, and then you wanted more feelings of joy. And so you've done that too. Think of, for those of you that have children, and your love for your children and the birth of your child, that, the first deal you had, and just think of all the joy that you've had in your life. It's been incredible. It's been uncountable on how much joy that each one of us have done. And so again, we're the leading edge creator. We're the one with the thoughts that send out the signal to our source, and then source, God, answers, receives that, and then answers immediately. And that's why all of our prayers have been answered. That it's in energy form, and it's sitting there in energy form, and it's waiting for you to allow it in. And so you've asked, you believe, and you expect. And so as you ask, believe, and expect, allow and believe and expect emotionally, that you will get that. So I want to go through, and this is just very powerful here, on our emotional scale of what we don't want. And so we're going to start at the bottom of this scale. And in fact, I have a copy of this. I would still write this down, and if you want to, you could take a full page of paper and start at the bottom of the paper, and maybe you want to write down some of those thoughts that I have at the bottom. But this is the emotional scale of what you don't want, and so about halfway up the page will be then the top half will be the emotional scale of what you don't want. But negative emotions, so this understanding of all we need to do, you don't need any more education, you don't need any more diplomas, you don't need any more of anything now that you recognize and that you really cherish and care most about your feelings. Because negative emotion tells you that you're thinking about this in a wrong way. And when I say wrong, not as God does. You're looking at it differently than God is, that you're off track. All of us have felt at one point or another off track. And that off track is because we're not thinking about the subjects, about our life, about where we are in the way that God is. And so we're off our path. And we're cutting ourselves off of the resources that we want. And so what are those resources? It's this energy, okay? It's these angels. It's those that have walked before you, that they're all there for you. But if you were brought up, oh, you're not supposed to speak to angels. I remember one guy got real upset when I talked about angels. and said, you're not, the Bible says you're not supposed to talk about angels. Well, let me tell you, the Bible, and I've studied it, that the Bible tells you not to, it tells you to, whatever, that again, that's been in a lot of different languages and a lot of different interpretations. And so you don't need that per se. You don't need anybody else. You don't need church. You don't need anything as far as your guidance system is within you. And so you have this intimate relationship with God, if you will allow it, and you will be literally guided to everything that you want. But you've been taught, we've all been taught, to do the how. We're supposed to figure out how. So I don't figure out how at all. That I figured out what and why. So when I recognized, after joining EXP and understanding the power of EXP and everything they had, and I saw that the sync and the conversion, they were fantastic if agents would use it, but not all agents wanted to use the technology and whatever. And I mean, it's not high tech, but it is technology. You got to be on a computer, and so I saw that agents just wanted leads. And then I recognize that also their mindset, and that's what I do. I'm a mental scientist, and I help people with their mindset, and that's critical above all else. And so if you think that, like the leads that you're going to get out of our leads program, if you think that they're going to be tough leads, or you don't pre-pave the call before you call, then you're right. You're not going to, you'll get life by default. But now you know that, hey, I can be intentional and do that. So I then asked for, I said, okay, so I know what I need. I need to give agents, and whenever I can, for free. By the way, from now on, we're going to charge $97 for it. And just the assessment alone, costs that, and retails for $300. And but so you guys, are fortunate, but for very inexpensive. I mean, most people have paid at least $1,000 for this process. And so on mindset, so I asked, how can I do the mindset, and how can I do leads? And next thing I know, I mean, it wasn't 6 weeks later. And so that's kind of where patience is. And I really don't like the word patience per se. It's just knowing that it's all coming. And so I want you to write down right now, I know it's all coming. I-K-N-O-W, okay? I know it's all coming. And when you have that belief, and you just know that, hey, I've asked for it and it's coming. I don't have to measure it or wait for it. It's kind of like a seed. Let's do this. That imagine, and it's springtime, and so let's say we're going to go make sunflower. We want sunflowers, and we get, a little pot of dirt, and we buy some sunflower seeds, and we put in the dirt, and we water it, and we fertilize it. So for us, what that means is our thought is that seed, and then the water and the fertilizer, what that is our good feeling thoughts about that seed, about that subject, okay? And so then we just allow it, and we know that seed is going to grow, and it's not going to grow into something we don't want, or, it's not going to grow into some ugly, whatever. No, it's going to grow into a sunflower seed, because that's the seed that we planted. Now, what a lot of us do is we plant the seed, and then we dig it up. We say, we dig it up, and we look at it, and we say, where the hell are you, man? Where's that big sunflower thing? So we're always digging up the seed. And what I mean by digging up the seed, that's when we have the doubt about, hey, I asked for it, and where is it? Where's my stuff? And so stop asking, where's your stuff? And start knowing that your stuff is on its way. It's all coming to you. And in the perfect timing and in the perfect portions. So now write down this, that everything is coming to me in the perfect timing and the perfect portions. And just believe that and know that. God knows exactly what you want. Those people that randomly win the lottery, and a lot of those people are random, that, they thought good thoughts about it, but then thought they couldn't do it, and by chance, and they won the lottery. And most people that win the lottery, they're out of money, and in many cases bankrupt, because they weren't ready. Okay, so do it on God's time, and it doesn't mean you can't say, "Hey, I want to win millions of dollars in the lottery." In fact, I would encourage that because you can. There's money in an infinite number of ways that can come to you. That it's all a matter of you allowing it in and allowing those thoughts in and those people in and those ideas and that contrast of different ideas of different people that gives you, bursts new ideas. So I want you to think about that you're farmers. We're all farmers, okay? We're all planting these seeds of whatever we want. And that seed is our thought. And again, that sunshine and fertilizer is our good feeling thoughts all around that seed, and stop digging it up. Stop counting it. Stop asking where your stuff is. That instead of keeping tabs on counting, where are we so far with the growth of that seed, just know it's going and let God do that. So you do the planting, right? But you don't do any of the growing. And so that's how life is. Do you see that the how on how to grow that plant? You've been told, we've all been told that this is how I need to do it, is I need to figure out how to grow that plant. That's God's job. That's the Father's job. And then you'll have your sunflower seed. And I love thinking about the sunflower. Just think about, oh yeah, I plant the seed, and then out of this little seed is this magnificent, beautiful, bright sunflower, and the sun is just, a godly idea, almost this golden, flower there, and it's big and huge, and it all came from a seed. So again, this idea of patience, stop being patient, just be knowing that everything is coming to you. And so those are the resources. So we think when we're thinking that when we have resistant thought, we're thinking we're literally cutting off the resources of all that is in order to give us what we want. And we're resisting our good. We're resisting God and our full intent. And so let's look at this emotional scale. At the bottom of it is being disempowered. Okay? And so when you feel, and all of us, again, have had emotions like this, where you feel disempowered, where you feel you don't have a choice, you got to do it, that fear, false evidence appearing real, where you feel unworthy, and you're creating what you don't want. And so the fact is, there's never a time, never a one moment where you are actually disempowered, where there really is actually anything to fear, where you are not always worthy, okay? And in this case, unworthy, that there's never that time other than your own thinking. It's not true. None of this stuff is true. When you have guilt, okay, and then look at my screen there, shame. So we're kind of working our way up, okay, and going upstream, but, actually getting a little bit better. Everything's a little bit better. Despair is better than being disempowered. Anger is better. So, people come to me, and if you'll notice, these are committee members, right? That, and so people come to me and they say, hey, I've gone to a psychologist, and I've sat on their couch, I've laid on their couch, and man, I would get mad and upset about, my situation. And then the psychologist would say, hey, don't get upset, don't get mad. And the fact is, like, I encourage people to get mad. If they're feeling despair or disempowered, I want them to get mad. I want you, like, if you're mad at some subject, some person, whatever, go into your bedroom, get a pillow, and beat the hell out of it. And just get that out of there so that you can start getting further up. So anger is actually a better emotion than these other choices of emotions, of negative emotions. And then there's worry, and there's concern, and there's doubt. There's negative expectancy, negative emotion. And then there's like work. So don't be saying work ever again. Try to just replace, and to be careful with words. In the training on Monday, we were told, and so if those of you that weren't there, that we were told that stop asking the question, have you been pre-qualified? Okay, it kind of sounds like, hey, how would you like to be asked? Hey, are you pre-qualified to do whatever? In this case, for them to be. It's just not very good. So be careful with the words that you use. So they say, instead, what you should use is, what is your purchasing power? Now, I like that. right? And so write that down. What is your purchasing power? Or do you know what your purchasing power is? That is way better emotional, higher vibrational words. And so you want to look at the words you use. So in this case, work, just get rid of that and replace it with what? Play. So I'm going to play today. I'm going to have fun today. And when someone says, hey, did you go to work today? Said, you know, actually, no, I stopped going to work. I just go to play. And just start changing all that. And they'll laugh, and you'll laugh, and everybody will just get lighter and ease up, because really all of this stuff is no big deal the lighter we get. So here's the emotional scale of what we don't want. And it works up. This is from the worst going up to a little bit better, but it's still on what we don't want. And all of this is resistance. And so I don't want you to write down the word resistance, but I want you to be aware that it is only your resistant thoughts to this beautiful world, to all these resources that you have, both seen and unseen, and it's all in your own thinking, your own resistant thinking. And if you'll recall in our third session that, you know, someone came up to me and said, hey, with my kids, you know, my father brought me up to be real disciplinary and real rough and tough, you know, with my kids. And I said, well, how does that make you even feel when you ask that? You know, do you really want to be that way? He goes, no. And do you think your kids want you that way? That spoil the hell out of your kids. You know what you should just do? Love your kids and love everybody else, and quit judging others. Quit judging your spouse and not liking whatever they do. Stop thinking about what you don't like that they're doing, and instead start thinking about what you do like about them, and you'll see that they're going to start changing right before your eyes. So now let's go to the next scale. And this is the emotional scale of what we do want. And so what is this positive emotion, okay, this positive energy, this high flying, you know, like I feel like I'm on a flying saucer, okay? Can you imagine a flying saucer? And it's just going higher and higher and turning faster and faster. That's what we're on. That's what you're on now. So you're on this flying saucer, and you just love it, getting higher and higher, because you are in control of that flying saucer, and you're going to go and be and do and have everything that you want. And it's going to be easy and fun, and it's all going to be at right timing. So, you know, some people will say, oh, well, I'll just make up something nebulous. They actually don't tell me this, but they say, well, why didn't you win, millions of dollars? Well, I'm having fun winning $100. Like, let's see, what did I do last Saturday night? I won. I paid $20 and then got $20, so broke even. And then I did a $5 one, and I got $100. And it was just fun. I was with Sharon, and we just have fun. We go into the little gas station. There's a little old lady with no teeth, and she just loves me coming in, boy. And I give her 10% of all our winnings. And so I just have fun, and so people say, well, why haven't you done millions? Hey, I got plenty of money, that it's all coming, and that's in perfect timing. And I'm not going to dig up that seed to figure out what's wrong with it. Because what happens when I dig that seed up? It stops the whole creative process, right? And that's what our doubt, our fear, these negative emotions, that's what they have done. And so this positive emotion, though, tells us that we're thinking upon this subject, whatever we're thinking upon it correctly, that we're looking at this as God looks at it, that we're on track, that we are on our path. And so then when you are thinking positive, so I don't care. I know that people say like, oh, you and your positive attitude or whatever, stop caring about what the hell they have to say. And that you just recognize that, hey, it's this positive. This isn't, half cup, half empty, half full. That my cup is full and overflowing. That's the cup that I have, and it's all because of this positive emotion, this thinking about things as God does. And how do I know that I'm thinking about things as God does? Because when I feel good, it's my communication system directly, intimately. And that's why the kingdom is within us. That's why the kingdom is within us, and the kingdom is guiding us every moment of every day from now through eternity. And so we have this loving, beautiful energy, this God, this source, this soul of ours that loves us and supports us and guides us. And how is it guiding? It's guiding with these emotions. And then when you're at that point in which you guys are right now in this moment you are, that you know that you're aligned now with your full intent of what you do want. So it's creating what you and God want. And remember, God doesn't have some plan for what you're supposed to be doing. You're the one asking. You birth the ideas. God does the growing of the plant, if you will. God goes and gives you the things that the how, and takes you to the creation and manifestations of what you want. There's hope. And again, hope is kind of at the bottom of this positive thing because, well, I hope so. Well, okay, and I get it, but it's not as strong as I know so, right? And that I trust. And I trust in God. This is trust in God. You want to trust in God, this emotional scale on where you stand and you stand tall and you say, yeah, this is where I am. It's grateful. So again, grateful is kind of at the bottom of the positive scale that I like that word, grateful. Hey, I'm grateful for this. But there's a little bit of a connotation with grateful as if, geez, somebody did something outside of me. Okay, and versus the word appreciation, where I appreciate that I asked, God did the how, and then I received. Ask and you shall receive. So again, grateful is okay, it's positive, but not as good as appreciation as far as an energy level. And like when I meet you guys, when I'm feeling your energy now, and again, that we have this power, and I think I shared with you in working at my PhD that we had two wings of a hospital. And one wing, they were both cancer patients, and one wing we prayed for, and the other wing we didn't, and the patients didn't know that at all. There was a statistically significant increase in the health of the people we were praying for. And so I pick up your vibes right now, even though you're not, sitting in this room. But when I'm with you, I literally see your glow. And I see your aura around you. And so I look at people as not on, the way most people probably look at people. And I see this beautiful aura, and that's what I'm looking for. And all of you have beautiful auras, and you've all gotten brighter. You're the light of the world, that you're going to inspire now the ripple effect from this process, from you as graduates, from you sticking with it, if you will, for these 5 sessions and listening to the CD. And again, I would recommend you redo it. I would recommend you coach with the Hankers too. And time management. If you need time management, I would just awesome time management. And that, but run together. But I'm sharing with you that you're the light of the world, that you could go out now, and the ripple effect that you have on so many, not just your loved ones and your family and the people, your clients, but the ripple effect, it just makes for a better and better world. And believe me, this is a better and better world than 100 years ago, or 200 years ago, whatever. We have running water and electricity, and there's more educated people in the world than ever. There's more people above the poverty line than ever. It's much, much better. But if you watch a TV, hell, the whole world's going out there. Nothing. And, everybody's upset about whatever, Trump this, Trump that. I could give a, he doesn't impact me. Nobody impacts my experience except for what I allow in. And I allow in the things that I want because I just think about it. I want harmonious people to come into my life. I want loving people like all of you. I love you guys. You guys are just magnificent. And like I say, you're stuck with me forever. You lucky guys, you. And that I'm there to guide you. And so you literally can call on me without texting or anything else, and call on me to help guide you out of whatever. And I'll guide you there. I'll be there. And as long as you believe that and know that I will be there for you, because I know that that's the truth, and that I have the power, and so you and you have the power to do that. And so that enthusiasm, get enthusiastic. Ramp it up. There's nothing to worry about. If you're going to go meet somebody on the phone or a client that's been bad, just forget that worry and everything. Just be enthusiastic. Say, you know what? I can't wait to meet that person. And your energy will be so high flying that you become irresistible. And I want you to write that down. I am irresistible. And you are. And so be enthusiastic and then know that I am irresistible. That every place I go, every person I talk to, everyone I'm in contact, every thought that I have, it's irresistible. God is just irresistible to my thoughts and gives me everything that I want. It's like we have a concierge in the sky. You just ask and you get it. And as long as you don't have this resistance, that you will get it. And you're seeing, so you're starting to experience some amazing things in your life. And this is just the beginning. Think where you're going to be in July. Think where you're going to be by Christmas. Think where you're going to be in 2018, 2020, and 2030, and 40, that you're going to be just so happy and so abundant and so healthy and have everything that you want. So get excited. Get excited. And so get excited about everything. That if you go, oh, no, I got to go into this, so I had an agent say, oh, no, I got to go to this, required, training for my hours and I have to go. And I go, what? Why would you look at it that way? Say, I'm going to go meet some agents that I can change their life with and pick two people, set just these fun little easy goals. You know what? I'm going to pick two agents that I'm going to attract into my life today, or into the training that I have, or, whatever it is. I'm going to attract clients today out of the blue. I'm going to attract a listing today. If you write down, I love the idea of attracting $1 million or more listing today, and just play with that and just have fun with it. Or take out the today, because you probably have too much resistance to that. But I love the idea of attracting $1 million or more. And some of you, by the way, have attracted millions of dollars of, $2.5 billion and I don't know, $1.2 billion. And, I mean, we got all kinds of $1 million deals where people haven't done $1 million deals, biggest deals they've ever done. And why is that? That's because of all this. And so have fun. Lighten up. That it's not so serious. This is a joyride. We were meant to skip along here and be on our merry way and get everything that we want and love this contrast, bless this contrast, and then be able to go to where we want. So think about having fun. Every day, in fact, on my 1 to 31 tracking sheet, which you all have that 1 to 31 tracking sheet, I think I sent it to you last week, and for sure the first week, that, you should have that out, and you should be looking at that like one of mine is that under business goals, the number one is to have more fun. So I go to these meetings and I'm with these people and I go to have fun. I don't go to, gee, I hope they, say yes, or, none of that stuff. They're going to say yes. They're going to love it. I'm just a little bundle of love, and they're going to love what I have because I'm given godly ideas. So I know what I'm offering is just ideal. Now, whether or not they can allow that in or they're resistant to it, that has nothing to do with me. And so, but I know that they're godly ideas, godly opportunities, wonderful things. The second thing that I track is I play more under business goals. Okay, so those are my business goals. I'm the successful, whatever, speaker and real estate agent and EXP guy and whatever that, have money, traveling the world, that, da-da-da-da-da, and all that stuff. And so what is my professional goals? Is to have more fun and play more. And so I want you to think about, I'm going to just lighten up on all this, and I'm going to let God grow grow the plant now. I'm going to have God grow that, because that's how I know now how life plays. And the knowledge and experience. And so your experience that, and the knowledge that I'm speaking about is this godly knowledge. When you start asking for, like, I'd like to have $1 million listing. I'd like to have a referral partner that gives me just constant referrals into ideal clients. And as you do that, then what happens is that God is going to give you energy form that will go into your brain, your mind, and will give you the thought to call this person, or to the thought on how to organize a situation or whatever. And so they're all godly thoughts. And when you are being taken and allowed to be taken to what you want, that everybody else around you will be able to get what they want. And you may say that's impossible. Like, let's say there's two farmers, and one farmer says, I need it to rain more because my crops are dry, and the other farmer says, hey, I want it to rain less. That you don't think that God can put rain in one area and not in another area? Yeah, God can do, all things are possible. But you have to expand your imagination. So the point there is that everybody gets what they want when you get what you want. Okay? And so you're not walking on anybody, you're not preventing anybody from getting what they want by you having desires and by you allowing those desires in. And then the top line of all this is there's nothing like the feeling of being empowered. And each one of you are these magnificent creators, empowered, filled with love. We all have a common cord of love that connects us. Common cord of growth and joy that connects us. Common cord of God that connects us. And so we're this empowered essence, beings, vibrational beings. And we're godly. And when we start running with God, going hand in hand, and so, a great way of doing that is, and for you like Christians with Christ, that walk hand in hand with Christ, or walk in Christ's footsteps, or have Christ carry you, and you're on the beach and having Christ carry you, and what does that mean? How do you do that? And it's this feeling good. And like that visualization, I was just on the beach with Christ carrying me and taking me to everything that I want. And by the way, it's a sunny day, and I could smell the kind of the salt of the sea, and a little breeze on me, and just enjoying, just in bliss. So that's where heaven is. Like, where's heaven and hell? Right here, and you make it. And so you get the choice, and you have the freedom of the choice. And so this joy, and so empowerment, love, God, joy, freedom, that you're worthy, and then appreciation. So that top line, take whatever ones that those are, and that's the feelings that you want in order to be really aligned and walk in one with God, and to have everything that you want. And so think about, I'm just a love ball, I'm empowered, I'm godly, I walk with God, I'm joyful, I have freedom, and I seek more and more of it, that I'm worthy, and that I'm in a state of appreciation on everything that has happened, is happening, and will happen, because I know it's all going to get me everything that I want to be, do, and have. Amen? All right. Oh, man. So with that, that's the emotional scale, and all of this is a state of allowing. So this word, this concept, this idea of I want you to start allowing your good to come to you. And so to be in a state of allowing. Stop the resistance, be at ease, breathe deeply, relax, enjoy. It's all opposite to what you have been told before. You got to go work hard. You got to go sacrifice. All those words, they just don't feel good, do they? That, what I want to do? I want to be at ease. I want to know that it's coming. I'm going to allow God to grow the sunflower plant and flower the sunflower plant in my life. And I'm not going to be digging up that seed again and looking to see how well it's growing, because I know that stops the whole process. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to plant these seeds from now on, and then I'm going to allow it. And I'm going to be in this pure state of allowing. And so as we, are in graduation here today, that I want to leave you with some ideas and that are precious to me and can be so helpful to you, that I want you to think about expanding your emotions. And the way to expand your emotion is ask to expand your imagination and your creation. And so I want to be more creative. I want to expand my imagination because you'll just be stagnant. If you're just looking at what is, you'll continue to be that way. So we don't want to be that way. Your EXP, these amazing agents, these people that are entrepreneurs that are thinking about the future and are literally living in the future of real estate right now. And so ask to expand your imagination. How do I grow my business? How do I grow my agents and change people's lives for the better? That, how do I become, just give me that imagination and ask me to expand my imagination, expand my creativity. Ask to go beyond where your thoughts have been. So I ask to go beyond where my thoughts have been. I want new, more creative, more imaginative thoughts that take me to what I want to be, do, and have. And I want to go I want to go beyond where my feelings have ever been. Because it's truly wherever your feelings are is what you're going to experience. And so you have those thoughts, you plant it, and as you get that energy going, that plant is going to grow faster and bigger and be everything that you wanted it as you are increase your emotion. And so ask for your feelings to go beyond where they've ever been. And again, I would write some of these down. Like I want my feelings to go beyond, my good feelings to go beyond where they have been, because it'll take you beyond to a whole new life. I'm sharing with you, I live in this just miraculous life. Like I just had another bird just, land next to chirp, and I don't know if you heard it, but it's like all these miracles happen to me all the time, every day, all the time, because that's what I asked for. And so that's another great one, is to ask for more miracles to come to you. And so be a master at manifesting. Allow yourself to be led by your emotions. And so really that's just been all, don't follow your emotion, use your intellectual mind and everything. That's just all wrong thinking. It's your emotion. I want to be led by my emotion. I want to be led what feels best, and that's where I want to go. So if you're literally traveling in a car, just ask yourself, hey, I want to be led by my feelings and my emotions, and just take me to whatever feels best. And you'll make a right-hand turn and all of a sudden see a beautiful sunset, or make a left-hand turn and see a place that just has delicious food or something to buy. And like when you go shopping, whether you have the money for it or not, you always say, if you like it, you say, man, I love that. I might get that. Never say to yourself, I can't afford that, because what are you doing? You won't be able to afford it. And so allow yourself to be led by your emotions. And so one of the things that I lead you with is kind of an overall on what is this, whole process and top performers. And basically, it's you letting go of your mind and your beliefs and allowing the impulsive signals from God to guide you and to lead you to even better feelings that will lead to even better thoughts. Because remember, everything's energy. The feelings are energy. The thoughts are then turn into energy, and then the manifestations of what I want. And so before we go to our success steps, I just wanted to share some things that have touched my heart and are going to touch your mind, heart, and soul right now. And so I'd like you to really, just like even right now, I'd like you to breathe deeply. And I want you to think about this breathing and how important it is. And it's the greatest advantage to you is your breath. In the Bible, that spirit actually means breath in the Bible. And so it's the greatest advantage to you, and it links you to the power of your source from which you have come. And so as you breathe, just breathe in deeply and just relax, and just say to yourself, relax. And as you breathe in and out deeply, It's to your greatest advantage, the healthiest thing you can ever do. 3 steps to great health: good feeling thoughts, deep breathing, and lots of water. That's it. You don't have to get any books on weight or any of that stuff. That's it. Just have good feeling thoughts, most important. Breathe deeply, as important, and then drink lots of water. And so as you breathe, you will find your true self. And as you're doing that, and the more that you're thinking about your good feelings and you're on that scale, at the top of that scale of empowerment and love, that you will discover your true self and the vibration of God, because that's where God rests, at the top of that scale. And by you feeling so good, that is the vibration of God. You know, when you get goosebumps, God bumps. And so to be thinking about, yeah, that's a vibration of my source, of my soul, of my God. And when you do this, and maybe you want to write this down, that when you do this thinking, deliberate thinking, positive, good feeling thoughts, and as you're breathing, that you will align with the power of your being. That your body, you look down and at your body, that your body is just a small, small part of the magnificence and essence of who you are. The non-physical part of you is far, far greater, most call like your soul or your inner being. And so as you are thinking these good feeling thoughts, as you take this teaching, that you will align with the power of your being, you'll have the clarity of your intentions. You'll have the purpose of your existence. And you'll have the worthiness of that which is you. And then when you're at that point, and you are at that point right here and right now, just know it's all coming to you. And know that then all things that you have asked for will be allowed to show themselves to you. So everything that you have asked for is actually here in energy form. It's just a matter of you allowing, and the thoughts that we, the teaching that I shared with you through the 5 sessions together, that will be allowed then. As you allow it, it will show themselves to you. The money will be in the bank. The person will be in the bed next to you. The clients will be there. The thriving business, all the health, everything that you have wanted will be there. And so with that our success steps that I'm going to send you an EQ assessment, emotional quotient, and it's going to be talking about like your intuition. I want you to start embracing your intuition. That most people say that, women have more intuition than men, and that just isn't true. What has happened is that men have been told, stop using your feelings, don't feel, don't cry, don't do, any of that stuff. And, at the end of the basketball game the other night that, these grown, wealthy men are crying, crying for joy. Show your emotions, that your emotions, wear it on your cup, that on your sleeve, that's who we are. We're these emotional, vibrational being, and trust in your intuition when it doesn't feel good, no matter how good the deal feels, that don't do it. No matter how good the person appears or whatever, don't do it. That inside you have this guidance system, and I want you to pay attention to it. And as you ask to grow my intuition, I want to further grow my intuition. I want to really connect with my communication system with God, that as you ask for that, just every day, keeping that focus, that you will, in fact, get all of the things that you have asked for, that you will have that guidance system, that you'll know exactly, you'll be on your lighted path all the time. And it's really not about getting this stuff. And I know you think, but it is. I want the money, I want that good, whatever. But really, everything that we're doing, it's because we want to feel better. Because deep within us, that we recognize that's God. That's God's communication system to us. And we just want to feel better. And so as you feel good, you will get all those things manifested into your life. And then listen to this recording at least 6 times. That I listen to this, that this is how life plays. And it's the most important ingredient that basically nobody really understands about this communication system that we have. That do your joy shop every morning. And again, I can send you different joy shops, or you just want to be intentional. You don't want to just jump out of bed and go do, because then during the day, you'll get a lot of do. And so we don't want that. And so what I want you to do is sit back, step back, pause, and just allow God to lead you to be that sunflower plant, that beautiful sunflower that you each are. Pause, breathe deeply, and then ask. And as you ask, you'll get more and more of these godly thoughts. Think good feeling thoughts. There's nothing like good feeling thoughts. In fact, I have a book that's called just Good Feeling Thoughts. And so it's thoughts every day. I have a real estate agent that was selling about $100,000 worth every month. No, every other month. Wasn't doing very good at all. He's now an international real estate agent, and he first started coaching with me. But then every day he reads Good Feeling Thoughts. My book is there's 7 good feeling thoughts every day, and he does that because it just raises his vibration to that of God. And then only think about what you want. As long as you think about what you want, and that's it, it's impossible to only get that which you want. And then care most about how you feel. And so, guys, I have loved our time together. You've been just fabulous. Keep in contact with me. I'd love to hear on more out of the blue things that happen. In fact, I'm going to do a video, so if any of you want to do just a short little testimonial, it would be great to be able to share this good news with other people. You guys have been just awesome. I love you. I had such fun down in Austin and with you guys, and there's just some moments that are great. And I remember that, besides being with all of you, that one guy that he was a janitor or something and came in, and I told him, yeah, come to the seminar. It's not just a regular seminar, it basically is teaching you how life plays. And that indeed is what it did, and what you have done. So I thank you. I loved our time together. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. Happy graduation. Each one of you are well-deserved graduates now of top performers, that you understand how life plays, and now you can have life play the way that you want. And so with that, all the best, that I know everything is coming your way. God bless you. Any other comments before we leave? Anybody? Okay, Linda, thank you. Appreciate you, Linda. Thank you. Anybody else want to speak up at all, say anything before we leave? Okay, Marilyn, thank you. Appreciate you. Patricia, thank you, guys. Yeah, love you. Okay, guys, so love you, and stay in touch. Appreciate you, Tina. Thank you. Bye-bye.